Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and everybody else sitting at home who's just finished SmackDown, because, yes, we're coming to you live here on the Internet Machine with Eat, Sleep, Podcast, Repeat, right after SmackDown. Big ending there. We'll get into that. But first of all, we got to do the business right out of the way. I am Sean Hood. That is Dave Taylor.
I'm imitating everybody for those who are not listening and watching, like the jaws that are picking up at the end of SmackDown.
Yeah. That we'll definitely talk about that. This is Eat Sleep Podcast Repeat. Eat Sleep Podcast Repeat. And leave me alone, folks. I've been up since 3 a.m. The FM 99 and the Fox's first and only wrestling podcast. And of course, been since 2017 the number one wrestling podcast on those sites. It's also the only one, but that doesn't matter. You can go to both pages, fm99.com and 1069thefox.com. Right under there, click the media tab, takes you to our most recent episodes. Right there, you click ESPR, takes you to our feed. And you can find us on all your major podcasting apps. Just search for ESPR Wrestling anywhere you get your podcasts. We're all over the place. Seriously, find us, subscribe, and give us a 5-star rating and a review if you could. We greatly appreciate it. And if you happen to be joining along with us on Facebook, Twitter, or anything like that, we greatly appreciate it. But if you're not already, if you don't know how to find us, facebook.com/ESPR99, on Twitter @ESPR99. And if you want to, again, if you're following along with us right there, you can go and throw some comments under the video if you want to ask questions or make comments about what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about NXT. We're going to be discussing the odds of a few things tonight, a new segment, and we're going to be going over a preview for WWE Payback 1 week after SummerSlam for some reason.
We need more pay-per-views. I guess they feel like, hey, might as well put that Thunderdome to work.
Well, they were like, this SummerSlam went so well. Let's keep the ball rolling while it's hot. So I think
gonna end well.
I think you probably could have used a little more time, but that's all right. Whatever. It is what it is, and what it is more wrestling. So we'll watch it, and we're excited about it. And again, feel free to chime in with us. I did. That's true. Feel free to chime in with us as we go along here, because we love interacting with you guys. But we'll get started right away with NXT, I guess, is the first thing we can talk about. NXT, big episode of NXT this week.
Yeah.
Following TakeOver 30, Karrion Kross has to come out, and yes, vacant is your NXT champion. I preferred to think of it as abeyance when the title was held in abeyance, because abeyance had a good run several years ago with the WWE title.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
But Karrion Kross, badly separated shoulder. He's going to be out for 6 months to a year, it looks like. We'll see if it's closer to 6 months or a year. And he had to give up the title, is what it is. It's a bummer, but,
And that is a tough injury. A separated shoulders have ended, football careers. I think of like James Stewart, who's in the NFL, been separated shoulder preseason, never played again.
Yeah, well, Wade Barrett and Finn Balor both had him, and they didn't wimp out. But anyways, no, I'm just seriously, it's different for everybody.
Back.
Yeah, that's another thing you can bring up as well, because Wade Barrett is back. He showed up on the commentary team this week with Vic Joseph and Beth Phoenix to call in NXT, and I thought he did a great job. Supposedly, this is a short-term thing he's just doing for right now. But you never know. He's also going to be back this coming week, and that's big news. So I'm excited he's there, because I like Wade Barrett. I overall, I like him, but I think he's a very good commentator. He's got the gift on the mic. He's had like
the bad luck. Bad booking, and then like the bad injuries.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Because I was looking back, because I was looking at like what Wade did, because I know we talked about it earlier today, and I looked, when Nexus formed, which was 2010 or whatever it was, and that's summer,
something like that, yeah.
And then by January, I think he got hurt, but he was like gone like after Survivor Series, and then CM Punk took it over, and then it became like the core, like that whole time. This big super group became jobbers, and then you had the core, and it's just like, wow, okay, well, you took that and destroyed it. Thanks.
I think at this point, even John Cena admits that he was wrong about some of the things he did with the Nexus.
Yeah,
even he admits that that was a mistake. And he's right; it was a huge mistake, because they had a really hot commodity on their hands, and they cooled it off almost instantly.
Yeah.
So. Luckily, they seem to have learned from those mistakes with a few other groups over time, mainly things like The Shield, Legado del Fantasma is doing all right now. I mean, the Undisputed Era. Some lessons seem to have been learned as a result of that, so that's good news. Even the Hurt Business, while they're not burning things down on Raw, they're doing better than Nexus did after a few weeks.
Well, and they're in featured matches at least. Well, unless they get bumped to the pre-show.
And you look, nobody in that group looks like a jobber necessarily. Like, granted, Shelton Benjamin's kind of been there for a while.
Yeah,
but
it's
really disappointing. Really disappointing.
But you can't make Bobby Lashley is no jobber. There's no guy that anybody's going to crush.
But even Shelton Benjamin, the way he's just looking at him, I mean, yeah, like you said, he's the way he's been presented has been bad over the last several years that he was with them, counting this time and towards the end of his first run.
Yeah.
But he still is somebody that I immediately buy as a credible threat to almost everybody in the ring.
Oh,
so he at least has that going for him.
Is his mom going to show up and say, "Stop doing this"?
No. Stop putting that out in the universe, Dave. That sort of stuff. Nobody needs to talk about it because we don't need anybody thinking it's a good idea. But other big news from NXT is since that title is vacant at the moment, they announced a big match for next week's NXT, which is on Tuesday, as a matter of fact. If you don't know that already, make sure you have your DVR set for Tuesday, not Wednesday.
Hopefully the DVR automatically picks that up.
Hopefully, but check it. Don't rely on that. Yeah. In any event, it is NXT is having a 4-way Iron Man match between Adam Cole.
Here, I'll edit that for you.
It's all right. Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and Finn Balor. Which, I mean, that's 4 dudes. That's so much talent inside of the ring. It's ridiculous. This could very well be. This could end up being match of the year at this point.
Yeah, and the timing of it, because I'm sure like somewhere Vince is going like, "Gosh darn it, why can't we be on the same night as Dynamite with this match?" But yeah. That's just the timing of it. So
is what it is. But huge match. That's a big deal, and I'm really looking forward to it. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm surprised. A lot of times, what we see them do on live television when it's not a pay-per-view is when they do an Iron Man match. So a 30-minute Iron Man match.
Yeah,
get out of here. 30 minutes.
I think the only 60-man was Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar, and I think one of the greatest SmackDown matches ever.
Oh, fantastic! Yes.
Yeah.
And but this one is a 60-minute Iron Man match between all 4 guys.
Are they going to have like 2 referees for this? I guess we'll find out. But
I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. We'll find out. It'll be interesting to say the least. So yeah, NXT big show this past week, and matter of fact, some of the things from NXT feature into our next segment, which Dave has dubbed.
Chances are.
We need something there for that.
Yeah, I was trying to work on that before we started, and
it just didn't happen. I gotcha.
So I was like, "Oh man, I can do this graphic," and then I couldn't find the file. So
right.
So I came up with a few of them, and since we got 4 guys in the title, so let's see. Chances are, Johnny Gargano wins the NXT title.
Oh, chances are like Johnny Gargano wins the NXT title. All right, so how are we doing this? Are we doing this like out of 100%?
Yeah.
Break it up into pieces. Like if you're taking a pie, what percentage of the pie is Johnny Gargano getting for likelihood?
Yeah.
All right. For me, oh man, I'm gonna have to factor in these numbers. I'm gonna say that Johnny Gargano, I think, is about a. You know what? I'm gonna say Johnny Gargano is probably the one that I think that has the least chance of winning.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to say Johnny Gargano has the least chance of winning. So for me, Johnny Gargano probably has about a. These numbers might not even out. I got to do the math in my head. I'm going to say he has about a 10% chance of winning.
All right, so Steiner math is okay here.
Okay, great.
I would go a little bit higher for this because with his heel turn and everything else that's going on, I'm going to put him as one of the favorites of this because with his heel turn and everything else, he's never been a champion as a heel.
Right.
So I'm going to go with 20% chance that he is going to win the title.
Okay.
So that's pretty big right there. Chances are that Tommaso Ciampa wins the NXT title.
He's actually who I have in second place.
Really?
Who I would have second most likely to win the belt.
Okay.
Win the belt. I'm trying to think of how to break these percentages down. I've left myself with 90% here. I'm going to go ahead and say right now that I think that there is a really strong chance that for me, it's Adam Cole. I'll get into the percentage he has left, or the percentage of him winning when we get to that point. But with Tommaso Ciampa, let's say that Ciampa has let's say he has a 30% chance of winning.
Okay. All right, that's pretty good. Then why would you give him that percent?
He's back, right? He's kind of back out off of a little bit of a layaway. He seems to be going heel again. He never got the title back previously, and there's really not much else for him to do there at the moment, except feud for the title.
See, yeah, I seemed like kind of getting maybe like screwed at the end and kind of reignite the whole Johnny Gargano thing with the sides reverse.
So I would agree with you, except for the fact that it seems like Tommaso Ciampa's going back heel after what we saw in NXT.
Yeah.
I mean, he assaulted Jake Atlas after the bell viciously for a long time. So that points to him being a heel now.
We shall see. I will go 15% with him, so I'm putting him below. Chance of that. Chances are that Finn Balor, or how did Rigo say it on NXT on Wednesday night? But that Finn is your NXT champ.
Actually, you know what's funny is I said this wrong before. Finn Balor is actually the one I'm predicting wins.
Okay.
So Finn is my favorite. So I've already used it, 40%?
Yes.
I've got 60 left. I'm going to give a 40% chance to Balor.
All right. That's pretty good. Now, why do you think he's going to be the guy?
I think he's the hot hand, and he's been having solid matches with everybody there. He's had this thing going about the whole time about, I don't watch the business watches me, the prince is reclaiming his throne, yada, yada, yada. He has to make good on that at some point. He can't he lost the match for the North American Championship. He can't keep coming up short in these matches for these titles, or else he kind of seems like his threats are empty. And I feel like the original plan was we were going to Balor to feud with Karrion Kross over the NXT title, because I think that was how we were going to bring the Demon back, because we haven't seen the Demon in a while. And I think that we can still do that. And I think that putting the title on Finn Balor when Kross comes back makes him an instant target.
All right, well, I'm going to go even higher and say 45%. Okay. Just to me, just with everything that's been going on with the wins at the takeovers, him have this winning streak, which because for a while he wasn't winning, and then whatever changed, and now he had some great matches as of late, and why not? He has been a champion in a number of years. Everybody else has kind of had their turn. If you're gonna go with Finn, and it would freshen things up, because you could have imagine the match with him and Cole, with Johnny, or even Tommaso. That was very possible as well. Jordan even says Baylor Club, baby.
Yeah, see, there you go.
So wait a minute, Baylor Club. Wait a minute here, baby, because that would mean Adam Cole.
Adam Cole. He's my second most likely, just because he did just come off of the historic reign. He's clearly somebody that I have a lot of faith in to carry that when needed. So I don't know, whatever percentage I have left, I give to Adam Cole.
You got 20% left.
Okay, then I give 20% to Adam Cole, I guess. In the future, I might have to do this a different way. Like, instead of doing percentages and having to keep track of math, I might just have to be like, I don't know, like, I think Adam Cole has a 10-1 chance to win the title, because I can just throw those numbers out how arbitrarily I want to. Johnny Gargano 1,000-1, just I can throw those out arbitrarily. I don't have to keep track of math.
All right, I think maybe that's what we'll do next time. It's the first time trying the segment,
without a doubt.
But yeah, 20% chance as well. But I will put Johnny at like 20.1, and then maybe Adam at like 19.9. So
see, for me, Johnny's the long shot. Johnny's the 20-1 or 30-1 or whatever. Adam Cole would be probably, I don't know, 5-1 or something like that. Tommaso Ciampa 10-1, and I have Finn Balor as like 3-1, 2-1. So like he's definitely my favorite going into that.
All right. Well, chances are, I think we 100% agree that it's going to be a tremendous match.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Gonna agree. Other chances are we saw him on NXT that Wade Barrett returns to the ring.
I genuinely don't know, because he hasn't been doing much in ring work in the last several years. He's kind of been focusing on outside of the ring and focusing on commentary. If you said, what are the chances that he returns to NXT full time as a commentator, I might have gone much higher for you. But chances that he returns to the ring, he's in his 40s now. I don't know that he has the desire to really do that now. I think he might be focused on beyond being in the ring. And maybe, what are the odds he returns to the ring? I don't know. I'm saying slim. That, you know what? I can't. He could return for a one-off in some regard. You know what I mean? Just one big match, against somebody that they can build up a feud with him being on commentary. But as far as an actual return to the ring, on a regular basis, I'm saying slim to none.
I see him coming back. I don't see it full time. I see him heading a group because it didn't work well the first 2 times or 3 times because can't forget the League of Nations. But I see him.
Oh my God, yeah.
Sorry, Wade.
That's 3 times then, isn't it? Nexus and then and then League of Nations. That's terrible. Oh God, why are you doing this to him?
I see him come back. And now, if it's not in NXT, but maybe he's going to pop up and say Retribution. I just don't know. But there's been some speculation that, and we'll talk about Payback in a little bit with Retribution, who some of the guys may be.
Yeah, I just that whole thing has been done so badly that I just don't care at all.
Yeah,
not even a little bit.
So I think there's a very good chance he comes back, not full time, but he is gonna. I would say by this time next year that he would have like 4 or 5 matches under his belt.
All right, fair enough.
Right. And the last one, chances are that Karrion Kross heads to the WWE when he returns.
You mean the main roster of the WWE?
Yes.
I mean, he absolutely will, but I think he's going to make a pit stop in NXT first.
Okay, so
because I think
you think he's not going directly to WWE. You think
no, I think they will want to get that match with, provided I'm right, and they wanted to go the Finn Balor Demon route. I think they're going to want to make that happen before, because I think you got to like this. You can get if Finn Balor wins the title here, he can become a 2-time NXT champion. Okay, only one other guy has done that at this point. If he goes on and Karrion Kross comes back, he beats Finn Balor because Finn Balor can't beat Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
Karrion Kross gets the title back. He's a 2-time champion. Finn Balor goes demon mode. If he beats Karrion Kross, then he becomes the first 3-time NXT champion, which is an accolade he could have under his belt. If he doesn't, then Karrion Kross can be the guy who beat the demon. I mean, either way, I think that's a big selling point for both guys.
I could see that happening down the road. I don't think when he comes back, you're looking at the guy that's had 7 NXT matches.
Yeah.
I don't think when he's 100%, they're going to say, "Okay, we're going to send you up to WWE." I mean, unless there's
it really depends.
There's a lot of big guys that are down, but
you're using logic with an insane 78-year-old or whatever, 75-year-old, whatever.
He was on SmackDown tonight, so
and he looked as crazy as ever. He
loud and everything.
I had trouble understanding him sometimes. It's getting to a point now where we're like, okay, Vince, we're done. He changes his mind on a whim sometimes, and I can see him being really into a guy like Karrion Kross, who's big. He's got a good look. He's aggressive. He had the theatrical, entrance and everything. I could see him really being into a guy like that, and then not being into him a month after he gets there.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I have not a complaint. Okay, Thunderdome looks cool, but now that we have that, you know what we got now? And maybe I said this on Monday. Longer entrances are back.
Yeah, because they're playing to a crowd, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's going to happen. They're playing to a crowd.
That's why SummerSlam was over 3 hours. We've been getting spoiled with short pay-per-views.
Yeah, but it started at 7 and ended at roughly just after 10 o'clock. I'm fine with that. If it doesn't go until 11 something, I'm fine.
Well, I think it was like the Orton McIntyre match, and I watch him on a delay and I apologize sometimes because sometimes I try to be live, but.
So you had no excuse for sitting through entrances you didn't want to sit through. Gotcha.
No, but I fast forward it, and I'm like fast forwarding like 2 minutes. He's not even at the ring yet. Fast forward another 2 minutes. He's on the turnbuckle. Fast forward another 2 minutes.
It does not take anybody but the Undertaker 6 minutes to get to the ring. It does,
and then the Fiend
so much.
When the Fiend came out on SmackDown last Friday.
Yes, the Fiend is like the Undertaker. That's going to be a long drawn out entrance.
It's like I can go, pick up a pizza and then come back, and then maybe he's in the ring. Maybe.
With the Fiend and with those overly theatrical ones, you're going to get long entrances. It's just going to be that way.
Just
be glad that Shinsuke Nakamura is in a tag team now. Yeah, you don't see his long entrance most of the time.
Yeah. They kind of shortened that anyways. Just plug it. There we go. Sorry, Shinsuke.
Yeah, they shortened that along with his, his run, his booking. He's tag team champions now for a tag team division that means nothing.
Yeah, unfortunately. All right, so we got a show, I guess, Sunday. We talk about
We
that.
do have a show Sunday, so it's time now for our preview of Payback, which I didn't even know there was more than one match for already.
Yeah, there's 6 on the card, which, by the way,
It's crazy to me.
This is the first Payback since 2017, and this is the 6th Payback. And I'm assuming that Roman Reigns will be in the, when we'll get to that match, has main evented for the last 4 of these.
Wow, that's impressive, actually.
Yeah,
I didn't even realize he'd been around that long as a singles guy to main event the last 4 of these.
Well, in 2014 they had the awesome match against Evolution.
Okay, all right.
That was when Batista left, and then that's when the Shield.
I thought that was Payback. I thought that was after Extreme Rules.
That was Payback, because this was the no holds bar. Well, it was an elimination match, so I don't know if that was the same match or it's a different match, but eventually that was at some point where Seth Rollins Batista left. In 2015 it was the Fatal 4-Way with Rollins against Reigns versus Orton versus Ambrose, and then it was Reigns versus AJ Styles in 2016, because that's when we just got AJ Styles, and it was against Braun Strowman in 2017.
Okay.
There we are. So there you go. A lot of Roman Reigns. But we'll get to Roman in just a moment. So let's start with where do we start in this card? Let's start with this the feud.
Well, hold on before we get to that one. Let's real quick bring this up. Let's bring up the fact there's no Intercontinental title match on the card, which is why.
No.
Yet again, they seem to just go through bouts of not caring about this belt and not putting it on their pay-per-views, which I don't understand. The current champion is Jeff Hardy, who won it from AJ Styles last week. Just earlier tonight, he had an open challenge where he defended it against Shinsuke Nakamura successfully. That was good. And then Sami Zayn shows back up with a different Intercontinental title belt. And he attacks Jeff Hardy, and basically he's pulling the "I never lost my title" thing.
Yeah. Now that's something. Doesn't he look like the same belt he had 4 months ago?
Kind of. Yeah. No. Yeah.
But Shinsuke and Cesaro didn't really have anything to do with Sami.
No, they didn't. They didn't want anything to do with him. So that seems to be moving on, which is fine. I'm okay with that. They don't need him necessarily.
Yeah.
And Sami will be better off just being a pest on his own anyway.
Yeah. I've got a comment here. Christy Sellers says, "Keep rocking, dude. You're awesome." All right.
I don't know which dude, but I'm going to assume it's me. So thank you. Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you, Kirsten.
All right. Yes, Sami Zayn came back last night, and but maybe they'll announce something. Well, I don't think they're going to announce Hardy versus Zayn. Obviously, that's going to build to whatever.
Yeah. Well, we might get another Hardy Open challenge or something like that on like the pre-show or something.
Yeah.
You never know. But okay, so we can get to the first match.
Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins and Murphy. Can we end this feud, please?
No, I'm fine with it. You shut your mouth. I'm surprised they're going to this match simply because we just had this match.
Yeah, then we just had this on Monday,
on Raw. Yeah, so I'm a little surprised that we went this route. Now, of course, there was the Retribution beatdown and everything and whatnot, so it was ruined by that. But
which I love, that they only attack faces. Hey, the heels are going to be over here. And then,
well, the heels did run away when they came out, so there is that. Yeah, so I'll give them that at least. I mean, the heels are going to abandon you. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm expecting it to be an entertaining match. These guys, on Monday they were having a good match. Dominic and Seth had a good match at the pay-per-view. And you add guys like Rey Mysterio and Murphy, who's a stud, into the match. It's gonna be entertaining. It's gonna be a fun match.
It's going to be good. I think the Mysterios will finally win a match, I guess.
I do too. I think they pick up a win here. The good father-son feel-good moment. I think that happens.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, maybe Aleister Black now, the heel, maybe he's like, who knows?
Maybe. I think he's focused with Kevin Owens at the moment.
Yeah. This one was just announced tonight, Matt Riddle versus King Corbin.
You want to talk about a feud that doesn't end.
And it didn't really start.
It started, but it didn't go anywhere. It's been in first gear for months at this point. Since Riddle debuted. It's literally been in first gear since then. Yeah, because they've been doing nothing. Yeah. Now Riddle did kind of get pulled back a little bit on his debut push. It seemed like, because of the allegations against him and everything when things were coming out. Neither here nor there. We're not talking about that. But it's just this feud has been meaningless and stuck in first gear the whole entire time. I do not care. I just want Riddle to win and move on.
He needs to win. You're not doing him any favors if Corbin wins.
No.
And speaking of not doing favors, if the wrong guy wins this match, Keith Lee versus Randy Orton.
Randy Orton's going to win.
You think so?
Probably, unless.
Do you think it'll be clean finish though? I mean, because
the exception. Oh no. If Randy Orton wins, he'll do something dastardly to win. But I see. You know what's funny is maybe Orton doesn't win. Maybe Orton gets disqualified or something like that. You know, assaulting Keith Lee.
I can see that happening
because he's Drew's friend.
I can't see Keith getting pinned. I think there'd be internet uproar.
Absolutely. People would be furious.
The Thunderdome would be shaking and be so.
People would be furious if Keith Lee got pinned cleanly by Randy Orton.
Yeah,
now that being said, don't get me wrong. I love Keith Lee, but guys, it's Randy Orton. If Randy Orton beats you, it's not like you're going. It's not you're not. Despite what a lot of people on the internet think, it doesn't mean you're buried. You know, you can lose to Randy Orton and it's okay. But it just depends on how it goes in the follow up.
Yeah, but I don't. This is not like
really what could happen here. What could happen here is, Keith Lee could get the win in what they're calling an upset because, like, Drew McIntyre could show up and cost Randy the match, even if he just distracts him or something like that.
Yeah.
I do not want to see him get involved again and cost Keith Lee the match by DQ like he did on Monday, because that's not going to do him any favors either. So I'd like to see, ideally, I'd like to see Keith get the win clean, but we know that's not going to happen. Randy's not going to get pinned cleanly by Keith Lee. I can say that almost with 100% certainty. So I would assume that it's going to be. I'm going to go with what I was just saying. I think Drew McIntyre gets involved. And it costs Randy Orton the match, and of course that leads to Randy and Drew again. Yeah,
we're getting Randy and Drew part 2.
Oh, and we should. It was a good match.
Yeah, absolutely. Where it wasn't like, I mean, you had a winner, but you didn't have the big finish happen. I think there's going to be shenanigans here. I don't think there's going to be a clean finish, but I think Keith Lee, he can't go 0-2 in his WWE debut.
I really hope
so I hope Keith Lee wins.
And also. Side note on the Keith Lee thing real quick. Everybody angry about his music changing and whatnot. Well, apparently there's some story to that. The people that did the music for a lot of the guys over the last couple of years have left the or are not partnered with the WWE anymore. WWE only owns about 50% of the rights to that. So they're not making the money they would on like a Jim Johnston song or the other company that they currently use. So they're having the company they currently use redo a bunch of songs so they have 100% rights to them. So Keith Lee might not be the last one we see that gets a new entrance theme. So the entrance theme, the change is a bummer. I just want to see him go back to his normal wrestling attire. Don't put him in the Vince thinks you're fat clothes.
Yeah. I'm not digging the attire. I don't care about the music, as long as it's ring entrance.
Dave fast forwards to your ring entrance anyway. He doesn't know anybody's music. Dave hasn't heard the Undertaker's bell ring in 40 years at this point. I don't know.
Been a long time.
Yeah.
I will say though on that note, could we get music that doesn't sound like the same for every wrestler?
That's super. It's the guy whoever they're using now. It is super generic.
Yeah, it's like okay. Well, let's change the key in this. Okay, same tempo. Okay, all right. But it is. I mean, come on. United States Championship match: Apollo Crews versus Bobby Lashley.
Unless you have a better plan, for Apollo Crews coming out of this, give it to Bobby Lashley. It's not doing anything for Apollo Crews at this point. I was thrilled when he won it because I was like, oh, they're finally doing something with Apollo Crews, and nothing has happened.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just been, he's been out for a couple of weeks for, speculated, recovery for COVID.
Right.
Not confirmed because they won't confirm any talent. So, I don't know if he's coming back and it's like, they're taking it easy or whatever else, but.
But again, if you don't have a plan for it after this, then move on, because it's not benefiting him to be doing this endless feud with the Hurt Business, which is just not. It's really not helping anybody.
No,
the Hurt Business needs to look like a threat. So Bobby really should win here.
Yeah,
and Apollo, unless you have a great plan for him, that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because I thought that maybe they go after the tag team titles after what happened last week, but because I figured Andrade and Garza, whatever's going on there, but let's drag that out. What about who is it now? Tozawa is your 24/7 champ. So there's no gold in the Hurt Business because he lost the Sheldon Benjamin,
which is so stupid.
Speaking of gold that may be lost, Bailey and Sasha Banks taking on Shayna Baszler versus Nia Jax.
I want to point out that Dave said gold that might be lost in this match. This is almost the most foregone conclusion on the show at this point. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax will become disgruntled champions.
Yeah, I hate disgruntled champions. It's just
so
overdone.
I despise the idea of two solo wrestlers who have never tagged together before, and who are not tag team wrestlers. It's not like Nia Jax is used to being in a tag team. It's not like Shayna's used to being in a tag team. I despise the idea of the two of them teaming up and beating the champions on the first night. Now, I will make an exception in this case simply because we've seen the dissension between Bailey and Sasha starting to build. Could very easily lead to them losing the match. I get more angry when they just beat them in a straight up match. Now, if this match happens and they just straight up beat them and then we get the breakup thing, I'm going to be furious because that makes no sense. Now, if there's dissension between them during the match and that causes the ending, okay, whatever. That story's been being told for about 3 years now.
Well, it will probably be a mistake at the end where, maybe there's a missed tag or maybe, somebody accidentally hits somebody or, does the whole rockers thing and rolls over their partner or whatever.
Sasha and Bailey had a good exchange on SmackDown tonight where they were talking about it. And Bailey was kind of like almost saying like, it's my, it's my fault you lost your title. It's my fault that you had to go through this. And then she kind of twisted. It's like, because I shouldn't have let you challenge Asuka for her title. Yeah. Like I saw how you were looking at me with my 2 belts and I knew you felt bad and blah, blah, you know what I mean? So it was a good heel promo and Banks was very aware of how manipulative and crappy Bailey was being and you could see it in her face. So again, I see the fall coming here. I'm just wondering what's going to happen during the match or after the match. So I don't know. We'll have to find out. But again, I can almost with certainty say Bailey and Sasha are losing the tag team championship.
I will agree with you. And I think Sasha will, I guess, turn face in the way that she...
That's the only way this can work, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see Bailey... It would take
how could Bailey turn face now?
After everything that's happened, it's kind of like, like Seth Rollins on the other side. It's like, how do you turn someone like that face after...
Well, to be perfectly honest, I don't even like the way Sasha's turning face here because this is more of a scenario where somebody should turn heel, not where somebody should turn face. It was, remember when Randy Orton got thrown out of Evolution?
Yeah.
I remember, I don't remember who it was at the time, but there was some other wrestler talking about it at the time and how much he hated it when the fans didn't latch on to Randy. And he was like, duh. He was like, of course they didn't, because the storyline was, I can't keep friends.
Yeah.
He was like, the storyline is I made my friends mad and they threw me out. Not that I was doing anything like a good guy would do. I wasn't redeeming myself.
Yeah,
I just couldn't keep friends.
Yeah, he didn't quit the group and be like, what? I don't like how you guys are doing business.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it my way. He
didn't stand up to anybody. He didn't do anything redeeming. And here's the same thing. Bailey and Sasha, nothing redeeming is happening for either of them. If Bailey turns on Sasha at this point, right? If Bailey turns on Sasha, then it just makes Sasha look like she couldn't keep a friend, and she actually, so I'm supposed to cheer her now. And the other way around, if Sasha turns on Bailey, then it doesn't portray Sasha as a face either, because then she's just conniving.
Yeah, and you can't root for Bailey. This is like every friendship Sting had from like 1990.
Every tag team partner Sting had. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Turn on Sting. Oh no!
Everybody, it got to be such a running gag after a while. You just expected his teammates to turn on him, and if they didn't, you were shocked.
Which stunk because it was like he wasn't like the sympathetic baby face, and there's not going to be no sympathy here unless Sasha just snaps and says, "I had enough of your crap."
Unless she stops Bailey from doing something to cheat or this, that, and the other thing. Unless she stands up to Bailey somehow, there's no redeeming act in this.
No. She needs to stand up. There needs to be this. Well, by the way, what is up with like these like heel turns or face turns like in the last like 2 weeks? Is it like they get like new writers in? We're going to change everything up, but
we know that these shows have been changing at the last, what was it? Raw this past week was literally the script wasn't completed until an hour into the show.
Yeah.
So I mean, with those kind of changes happening, hey, it's my mom. My mom chiming in. Hi, Mom. How you doing?
There you go. But you're right. Everything just seems crammed together. Aleister Black all of a sudden he healed just for whatever reason.
Well, you know what? I'm more okay with that because they've done nothing with him so far. So
No,
we might as well change him up.
He is not a face in any way. I mean,
I think he's a face. In today's world, he's a face. And Stone Cold Steve Austin changed what it meant to be a face. Stone Cold Steve Austin went out there cursing, flipping people off, betraying his friends, and attacking women, and still got cheered. He changed what it meant to be a face.
But he wasn't doing anything as a face. I mean, like,
but it didn't matter because he was portrayed as the baby face in these feuds. He was 100% the baby face.
Yeah, I don't know, but this felt like something was missing. So hopefully, whatever he does now is going to work. I guess Sheamus tonight walking out on the Miz and Morrison. And he's been showing signs of being a face those a couple of weeks. Alexa Bliss, whatever.
I'm not so sure he's a face there as it's just because walking out on your teammates could just be selfishness. But Alexa Bliss, we got that heel turn coming supposedly.
Yeah, Cesaro, with Shinsuke and Sami. Oh, what about the Lucha House Party tonight?
Well, I mean, Kalisto, they've been kind of painting him as a bad guy for a couple of shows now. So I mean, I think he's going that direction. I'm fine with them mixing some guys up. I don't think all of these things mean we're getting turns. I think Sheamus could just be being a D because that's what he does. I think Shinsuke and Cesaro not wanting anything to do with Sami. I mean, they openly said, like, dude, you didn't talk to us for 4 months. We kind of offended for ourselves. What are you doing here? Like, again, that goes back to the same thing. Nobody's turning face there. You just can't keep friends. You're on your own, buddy. Bye. That's just proving that you can't trust each other is all it is. So,
speaking of Alexa, can we get to this match? Because this is all the matches on the card.
Does she get involved? Maybe. Well, I don't know.
You have to set it up first, and I get.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Hang on. Hold on. I gotta try to see if I can lower this from the ceiling. And now for the main event of the evening.
There you go. The Fiend Bray Wyatt defends the WWE Universal Championship versus Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman in a no-holds-barred triple threat match. Which two things on SmackDown tonight I'd like to point out. Like, why is it like Braun Strowman's? I'm not going to sign the contract until whatever. Just sign a guy
unless I get to wrestle Drew Gulak. Yeah. Which, by the way, that twerp, I hate that because I promise you, Vince McMahon told him to say that.
Yeah.
Because he sees Gulak as a little guy, and he's like, "Oh, that's funny," because that's how Vince is. He thinks that that's hysterical. I'm sure. Why did we sign Drew Gulak back just to do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because Daniel Bryan's at home right now with his kid, so
which is fine. Which is totally fine. But it's just I don't understand why we made a fuss of getting Drew Gulak back under contract if this is all we were going to do with him. It makes no sense to me.
And then the very end of the show, after Roman Reigns says, "I will be there in the match," sitting next to him, Paul Heyman.
Is Paul Heyman guy? I'd like to point out. I don't remember when it was. Might have been the Mania where he faced Lesnar. I don't know, but I remember.
I think we talked about that. Might have been.
I remember us talking about the fact that Brock Lesnar's advocate could become Roman Reigns' advocate, and that could be a heel turn for Reigns because all of a sudden he could be like, "Oh no, this is my guy now," because he sees the tide turning because he realizes that Roman Reigns can beat Brock Lesnar. And they took the long way to get there, but it looks like we've finally gotten there. Now, is he going heel? I don't know. Maybe. Could be. Might just be riding the middle line right now and letting people decide for themselves because really that's probably the smartest plan for him to begin with.
Well, there's no crowd, so you can go with this however you choose, and he could just be, a little less suffering succotash and more, you know what, I'm going to beat you and I'm going to leave. And that
Sunday, I thought he had great lines when he was yelling at Fiend and Braun Strowman. He was beating the hell out of Braun Strowman with a chair. And he says, "You ain't a monster without me." And he's like stuff like that. And I'm like, he's throwing great lines out there, these guys. And I'm like, see, he has charisma. He can talk. Let him be Roman Reigns. Stop making him be who you want him to be.
When he cut the worst promo, worse than the fact that he announced that he had the cancer came back.
Yeah.
But when that was like the real him, sometimes these guys are better off when it's like, well, what's played to your strength of you being you and talking with an attitude and not this other way. just because it makes you more genuine as opposed to this other guy this is my yard and whatever.
It's one of the things that works so well is when it feels natural, when it feels like it's something you would actually do or say, when it feels like a real reaction from you, you're going to get other people to react in kind.
Yeah, Becky Lynch's post SummerSlam promo after she turned on Charlotte. And which was weird because for promos and when there's audiences, there's that beat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say my line. I'm going to pause. And she did it in such a different way where there was no pausing because she just, was supposed to be angry and the crowd just loved her. But, but that's that beat that these wrestlers, get on. I know it's changed without the crowd and stuff. So maybe when Roman eventually does cut a promo, unless Heyman does the speaking for him, I think we can kind of see,
I think you'll get Heyman cutting some of the promo, but I think Paul will I think Heyman will do some, but I think you'll also get Reigns doing some. What's funny is I thought for a second that that it was almost a foregone conclusion that the Fiend was going to win this.
Yeah,
I figured he would just pin Braun Strowman to get out of the match, and that way Reigns doesn't take the pin. Braun kind of goes to the back of the line. But after seeing Heyman in his corner dropping the spoiler line and everything, I'm like, we've kind of been conditioned that when he uses that spoiler line, it usually is indeed a spoiler. And it would be big news if he's back with Roman Reigns and Reigns wins the title.
I think this is a transitional reign for the Fiend. The Fiend doesn't need the title, as we know.
No, but stop using him as a transitional champion. You hurt him that way. And I still think that Braun Strowman's the guy who eats the pin.
Maybe this was what's supposed to happen at Mania this year. Well, actually, no, I take that back because
Mania was supposed to be Goldberg and Roman Reigns.
That's right. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, and then it wasn't, and I feel like they were going. At some point, I feel like we were going to get the Fiend and Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It was probably going to be because you had Goldberg, and then Goldberg and Braun, and then Braun got the title, which feuded with the Fiend, and then led to Fiend. I feel like what would have happened is the Fiend would have took the title, or the Fiend would have dropped title Goldberg. Reigns takes the title off of Goldberg, and you get a feud between the Fiend and Roman Reigns at that point.
Yeah, that's probably what would happen. And I actually kind of like it more this way than what I think we initially would have gotten 6 months ago.
Probably. Oh, without it, at this point, I can tell you right now, Reigns has been on 1 week. I'm already more happy with it.
What about Bliss?
I don't know. No, you know what? I don't think she gets involved here. I do not think she plays a part in this. I think that we get through the match. It's all about Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. And I think that afterwards, like the following SmackDown, somewhere down the line, I think the Alexa Bliss factor comes in there to kind of reinvigorate the Fiend character. Because if you do it at SummerSlam, it's weird if he doesn't win and you have that big, thing.
Well, if we didn't have Paul Heyman, I would totally say we would see her Sunday getting involved. But now that Paul Heyman is there, this is all Roman. This may be like
yeah. I completely agree.
I think it's going to be a shorter match, not like less than. 10
I don't know if it'll be shorter. I mean,
I just see it being very physical.
Oh yeah,
and everything. Which, by the way, why are they calling? Because triple threat matches have no rules. Why are they calling this a no holds barred match? Since basically that's what a triple threat match is anyway.
I was trying to drive the point home. I don't.
And I didn't mention this, by the way, on Monday when I go back. Could you make Braun Strowman look like more of an idiot to cut up the ring and then just get completely destroyed?
That happens to so many people who cut up the ring, though.
Yeah, but getting anything. I know it's the rule of I set up the table, I go through the table, I cut the ring, I go through the ring.
Yeah. I will say that, maybe Braun Strowman's closing in on a victory, or like he's getting ready to pin the Fiend, he's getting ready to slam the Fiend, something like that. And all of a sudden Alexa appears or something along those lines. It distracts him long enough for the Fiend to get out of it. And I don't know, maybe Reigns takes advantage and hits Strowman or something like that. It's possible. But for me, you save the Alexa thing until after this, because the Fiend is going to need some heating back up after dropping the title again, especially literally a week after he won it. He's going to need to get his heat back. And I think Alexa being a part of his act and getting this new invigorated look and everything may indeed be something that helps heat the Fiend back up and make him, have a new motive.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. Like I said, if we didn't see Heyman today,
yes,
we would see Alexa on Sunday. We're not going to see her yet. We'll see her afterwards because Bray's going to have to dig deep and find these other weapons to fight Roman Reigns or to finish off Braun Strowman in a Hell in a Cell, which now they can do because now they have an arena. Agreed. There you go. That is your Payback preview.
There it is. In the can, ladies and gentlemen. Whew, been a lot of this week.
Hey, got a couple of emails, by the way.
Okay, let's roll them on out there. Let's dive into our bag and see what we got.
All right. So, when do you think Otis will cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase? That is from Chuck in Richmond.
You're going to laugh, but I say laugh, but you're going to laugh like groan. I could honestly see Otis keeping this thing till next year and realizing all of a sudden that he held on to it too long. Because I forget he has it half the time. I saw somebody say, like there was a poll online. In fact, it might have been WWE's poll on Twitter that said, who leaves Universal Champion on Sunday, right? And it was, the options were Braun Strowman, The Fiend, or Roman Reigns. And somebody under it just said in a lot, like big capitalized letters, they're like, Otis! And I was like, that would be amazing, actually, if Otis did walk out with the title.
Well, because like when Reigns and Lesnar had that match at WrestleMania, and then what's his face cashed in, Seth Rollins. That was great. Heyman and great Brock, because you got a good way to get Brock off of television with the suspension. But
right.
But man,
you know what they could do technically? Just bear with me on this, okay? Anybody could win. Like the Fiend could win, or blah 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 blah, something like that. After the match, you could get Otis coming out with the briefcase, right? He's going to cash in. He's going to cash in the briefcase. And he does the thing, and they ring the bell. And when they ring the bell, Roman Reigns is still in the ring. So technically, it counts as a three-way because Roman Reigns is still in the ring, right? So Roman spears Otis. Maybe the Fiend's not even paying attention to him. Roman spears Otis, pins him, becomes the champion, and leaves. So technically, the spoiler came true. He didn't have to beat the Fiend. That might be the best for all parties concerned. It would be convoluted. It would be nonsense, but I would take it just so the Fiend didn't have to eat a pin.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, I think Braun's going to eat the pin, but man, if you get out of all three guys eat a pin.
That, or he tries to make it a four-way,
Maybe, which could happen, but that would be almost pointless right now to do. I mean, you've already got a big enough story with Roman being in the match and with Heyman that I don't think you need to make it a four-way. He could come out at the end. Again, they could do something nonsensical here with him, but I really don't think it's yet. I think they wait. I don't think. I'm going to say this right now. I don't know that we're ever going to see his cash in coming. I think it's going to be the most random thing in the world.
I think you wait. I think there's no need. There's so much going on now. You don't need the cloud of his picture with everything else. If anything, he's going to come at the end of SummerSlam on Sunday and cash.
I think you wait. I think you wait until Reigns is champion and he's kind of walking on everybody and he's being the Brock Lesnar of the brand and whatnot. And then Otis comes out to cash in on him one night after a pay-per-view, and people will lose their minds. Granted, yes, a lot of them will be watching from screens or at home, but I mean, the viewing audience will lose their minds if Otis comes out to try and cash in on a heel Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So
people lose their minds. I got one more email here. This is from Joe Midland. Was the tag team gauntlet match in Dynamite one of the better tag matches AEW has put on? I think it was like a 6-team match. I think
wasn't it 4? I thought it was 4. It started with Natural Nightmare Natural Nightmares, right? It was them and
you had the Young Bucks were in the match.
Young Bucks, yes, it was the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks won. The Young Bucks then went on to face the Best Friends. Best Friends beat the Young Bucks, and FTR comes out and beats the Best Friends relatively quickly. Was it one of the better tag matches they put on?
As of late, I will say yes, because
as of late, I'll agree. Yeah,
it's been frustrating because this is the one complaint we have is how they handle the wrestling. And gauntlet matches are always a little bit weird because
I'm never really a fan of them.
Or you're going to go, like obviously the cruiserweight match they had at Mania where it lasted like 10 minutes. We had it seemed like 20 guys in it, and guys were losing in like 20 seconds.
Which drives me nuts.
Yeah, so it was all right. It was like a tag team turmoil match. But lately, it was better than what we've seen recently. I don't have many complaints about this one as I do with other tag matches.
Right.
I think the 8-man later in the show, which was just more of a showcase for the heel team, but
for Eddie Kingston's guys.
Yeah,
which was necessary. It was necessary to kind of heat them all back up.
Yeah, they needed that. But by the way, I didn't say so. Congrats to Brody Lee on winning a.
Winning the title.
Yeah. Can we get a non-WWE guy to win that now?
No, you can't. No, you can't. At this point, you get when is All Out, by the way?
That is next Saturday, so I guess we'll be previewing that next week. There's so many.
God, this month never ends.
Oh.
All right, so you heard it here last, probably. Next week we will be previewing AEW All Out because next week, actually,
we review Payback. Maybe we didn't talk about this before.
We're gonna have to review Payback. Then after that, we're gonna have to review the NXT show with the Fatal 4-Way Iron Man match and preview the All Out pay-per-view that coming Saturday. Wow, there's a lot to do. So make sure you tune in, please, so we're not just doing this for ourselves. For everybody who joined in with us tonight, we greatly appreciate it. Remember, all the times you can find us on all your major podcasting apps. Just search ESPR Wrestling, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and a review. We greatly appreciate it. And find us on all your social media, Facebook.com/ESPR99, on the Twitter at ESPR99. Turn on your notifications if you like the page already. If you don't, like it, and then turn on your notifications. So when we go live like this, you can be a part of the show. And remember to email us, ESPR@FM99.com, if there's anything you want to tell us about, talk to us about when we're not on. And as always, man, I say until next time, which will be about 3 days from now.
Yeah, a lot of shows lately. They're cramming it all in there. It's a 5-pound bag with 10 pounds of wrestling. So
you're not wrestling?
Well,
I guess we'll know. I guess we'll know after Sunday if it was wrestling or crap. We'll find out. We'll find out. Until that time, remember to eat, sleep, podcast, and
repeat. Not waving the flag. I want to say hi to our audience in Russia because we got a big following.
Wow. How do you say hi in Russian?
Hi in Russian. Good night, everybody.